Merry meet and welcome to Psalmic Saturday here at Ariel's Corner. This is Ariel Gatoga and we are streaming live on YouTube. Moderating today are the lovely Jason and the lovely Honeypaw. Thank you so much, moderators, and thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. I hope you're having a fabulous day. We will be doing our Psalm spell just momentarily. We do have a premiere at 11 a.m. Pacific right after this stream, so I hope you will join us there. If you don't know how to get a hold of our premieres, you can just hang out through the exit music and it should dump you right onto either the page or a link to the page so that you can join us for that premiere. Our website is located at arielscorner.com, arielscorner.com, and there's all kinds of psalm resources there for psalmic magic and all kinds of other stuff there too. And everything at Ariel's Corner is free of charge, so please avail yourselves to all of those resources. You can also download a free booklet on Psalm Magic by going to I always do the wrong one. Going to arielgatoga.com/psalmbook. arielgatoga.com/psalmbook. Please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. It does help our channel out quite a bit when you do that. And let's see, what else was I going to tell you? Oh, our shop is located at arielscornershop.com, arielscornershop.com. We have a chat thread open, so please chat amongst yourselves. And if you do have any questions for me, put them in the chat thread. And provided I'm not going too long, we will answer those. Otherwise, you can get on our Discord server and or our private Facebook group if you don't get your question answered. And that's another great place to interact with me and everybody else in our community. You can find the links to both of those resources on our website, arielscorner.com, arielscorner.com. Just check in the footer of any page and you'll find all of our social media links, including our Discord server and our private Facebook group. All right, well, thank you so much again for being here, and let's get going with our Psalm spell. Yeah, let's do that, Ariel. Today we are working Psalm 10. In traditional psalm magic, Psalm 10 is frequently used to acquire perseverance, to remove any negative influences, for self-confidence, and also to cleanse and purify the aura. And today we're going to use it for divine justice. So any kind of injustice you may feel is happening in your life, this is a great psalm to turn to for that. And you can see a shift in your perception of that immediately. And once your perception in something changes, the outcome is right around the corner. The way we work Psalm magic is easy, simple. The way we work Psalm magic, take 3. The way we work Psalm magic is simple and effective. We read the psalm out loud all the way through once without stopping, and we call this an incantation. Then we go back through that psalm, and we consider each verse one at a time in turn. We search for hidden meanings within each verse. And we just do our best. We follow our intuition. I find that it's a similar kind of feeling as when I'm giving a tarot reading. I just allow the psalm to speak to me. And as we uncover those hidden meanings, we call them magic seeds, what we're in effect doing is not only finding them, but through that labor of using our intuition to discover them, we are planting them in the depths of our minds. And part of that toil, part of that work that we're doing is, like I said, is discovering those seeds, but we also want to consider how they apply to whatever it is that we brought to the psalm. And everybody's going to be different, and there's no necessarily wrong way to apply it. You just want to trust your intuition. And the other thing about those magic seeds is you're never going to find all of them. So if you go through the same psalm 20 times, you might find 20 different collections of seeds, and that's a good thing. But as you plant those seeds in your deep mind, think of that deep mind as fertile ground where those seeds take root. They grow, they blossom forth, and then they bear fruit after their kind. And that is exactly what you and I are going to do together right now with Psalm number 10. Why standest thou far off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth them into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hiddeth his face, he will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thine hand, forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn God? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to requite it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness until thou find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of his land. Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress. So again, we start off with understanding who we are addressing here, and it calls it the Lord. And the Lord in the King James Version of the Bible is a translation from the Tetragrammaton, which are the initials of the supposed proper name of God from the ancient Hebraic faith. And this is all symbolic to us as psalm magicians. It's a symbol of that which cannot be named. It's a symbol of the one power, the one force, the one source, the one substance in all of the universe. There's one mind, there's one being, there's one power. And when we understand that there's only one, and that the illusion of the ego, the illusion of separateness of this world is the cause of all of our so-called problems, when we can at least conceptualize that, then we understand that when we go to that one, that we're going outside of the thought system that causes whatever the problems are that we are here to address, that we're trying to get to be healed or to be solved. So it says, Why standest thou far off, O Lord? Why hidest thyself in times of trouble? It's so common to feel this way, and it's so important to bring that up to our awareness. When we're in trouble, in this case we're talking about injustice, but if you've come to this psalm for other reasons, it works just fine. Whatever your reason for coming to this psalm, It seems as though there is no infinite. There is no God. There is no force. There is nothing but chaos. And sometimes when we are feeling that injustice, it almost seems like if there is a God, we're the butt of its joke. And so that's what this is allowing us and actually calling on us to bring up. Because if we're not telling the truth about that part of it, then the rest of it is just pageantry. We have to allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling. And if we're coming to the Psalms, usually for many people, not all of us, some of us are on a psalmic path, so we come to the Psalms regularly. But a lot of people in magical traditions come to the Psalms because nothing else has worked. It's a last resort. It's a last-ditch effort. And so part of the reason why you're coming to the Psalm may be that it seems like there is no hope for you. And so we want that hopelessness to come up so that it can be cleansed. Remember, one of the uses of this psalm is to cleanse the electromagnetic field. And when you can cleanse the electromagnetic field of your called your aura, that is also called your aura. Let's say that again. When you can cleanse the electromagnetic field, which is also known as your aura, from thought forms and energies that are attractive to the things that you do not want, it goes a very long way in bringing you the success that you're looking for. So whatever it is that you're going through, let it come up and be honest with those feelings. The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they've imagined. So if you're coming here for some sort of injustice, somebody's doing something awful. Somebody's being mean. Somebody's mistreating. And what you're asking for is that the evil deeds destroy themselves. But I shouldn't have to get involved in this. I shouldn't have to become part of any kind of combat with this. I know that the way things are made, the way things are in truth, is that there is no evil. There is no injustice in the eyes of the infinite. So if we can get the truth to shine on the situation, whatever apparent evil there is destroys itself. And that's typically called a reversing spell in magical practices. And the idea is that you're going to reverse somebody's negativity back onto them. It's sort of a lot of times in martial arts, what they do, they're not really using a lot of force when they're defending themselves physically. They're using their opponent's force on themselves. They're turning it back on them. And understanding that our whole life is a game of boomerangs. It's a game of comeback, because there's nothing that you can put out in the universe that actually leaves you. It's part of you. And so eventually you're going to get the fruits of whatever you put out there. And we're saying, yeah, we understand that. Let's get going with this. Let's not take so long to have that comeback. So it says, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth. And when we're going through any kind of injustice with other people, it seems as though they are sneering and laughing and nothing touches them. Why are you Teflon? I don't get it. I don't understand why you're Teflon. I know that the infinite doesn't stand for this kind of behavior. I know this isn't the will of the infinite for you to be behaving this way, but you seem to get away with it over and over again. And I, who am so virtuous and so kind and do my very best, I can barely make ends meet. What's the deal? The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. And that's the truth. If these people that we're trying to get justice served on were thinking about the infinite, thinking about God, they wouldn't be doing this. But they don't care. They don't care. And that's part of why it seems like they succeed temporarily, because they don't care. They don't care. So they don't have those thought forms going out there of guilt. And if you are projecting guilt onto the screen of space, you're going to get back punishment. And so those of us who have a conscience usually get that comeback really fast. And people that don't care, that don't have any sense of right and wrong, that don't seem to have any sense of right and wrong, and don't believe that they are subject to justice, it seems as though they can get away with anything. And that's part of the reason why, temporarily, they do seem to get away with everything, because they don't feel guilt. So since they don't project guilt, they don't receive the so-called punishment. And that's temporary. It's important to understand that that's temporary, but that's also why. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above, out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. People that are unjust and that don't care and that don't seem to ever get their just rewards, they also tend to have a lot of grievances. They always seem to have reasons why they are justified in their injustice. And when it says he puffeth up at his enemies, these people's ego activity is so expanded. When it says puffeth up, that it is it's a good image. Puffed up ego. And puffed up ego can seem to be very powerful. It can seem to be very powerful in the moment and for time on earth. It can seem very powerful, but it is not. Now, most of the occurrences from these kinds of people can seem to last a long, long time. And in the realm of time, it seems to take a while for those things to undo themselves. But if you look through history, every injustice eventually gets solved. Eventually, it gets solved. But the whole idea of magic is we're not going to have to wait. We don't need to wait. And a reminder, too, before we go on, that what we want is justice for ourselves and for our loved ones. We're not necessarily after retribution here. Because if you start getting into retribution and revenge, and I can't wait to see them fall, I can't wait to see them punished, all of that kind of thing, then you're taking it out of the realm of a spell for justice and into the realm of a spell for revenge. And that's a very different kind of spell. And those are tricky kinds of spells, and those are usually spells that I don't involve myself with, because they do tend to create more problems for the person who is casting them. So that's not what we're doing here. We are calling on divine justice, which is our divine right, by the way. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. And that's why they seem to have so much staying power in the moment, in the temporal world, because they have kind of found the trick that if they can get so almost sociopathic about their thinking, where they don't have any regret, they don't have any remorse, then they're not projecting regret and remorse onto the screen of space. And so they can, from their point of view, get away with anything. They can get away with anything. I'll never be in adversity. I'll never be moved. Nothing's ever going to come back on me. I'm Teflon. Look at my history. Nothing bad ever happens to me. So you can just F off, because there is no justice that you're going to get, because I am more powerful than you, and nothing bad ever happens to me. That's their attitude. And temporarily, that attitude is working for them. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. And that's just it's a personality profile of these kinds of people who have no remorse. They have no sense of right and wrong. They have no sense of compassion. They're in it for themselves. And these are the ones that always seem to escape justice, at least for a time. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. Now, let's look inside ourselves for a moment and recognize that in our own ego mind, we have similar kinds of traits that may not come out the way these peoples do. We're not being unjust against other people, but our egos are being unjust against ourselves. They're not being, we may not be unjust against other people, but our own ego minds are unjust against ourselves. And that's what our ego does, sitting in lurking places of the villages. And the villages are the different areas of your mind and the different areas of your life. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. And to murder the innocent in this case, in our own ego mind, is to create situations for ourselves where we get to prove to ourselves that we're not good enough, that we're victims. Always setting it up so that we are, it's like goes out of its way to make sure that there's a grand meeting between us and these kinds of people. His eyes are privily set against the poor, and that's our ego mind. Our ego mind is our own version of these people, because these people seem to be all ego and no soul, right? These kinds of people. So these people are a great study in how the ego mind works, so that we can use that study to notice those traits about how we treat ourselves. So you can get a lot done with this. In addition to getting the justice that you desire, you can also start to heal those parts of your own mind which are self-abusive and that are putting you in alignment with these kinds of people to begin with. It's so important to work on both sides of an issue, not only on what's going on outside of you, but definitely what's going on the inside of you that's allowing this to happen, that's setting this up for you. Because the ego that you have is definitely enjoying it. I promise you. The ego loves a good problem. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. So not only are these people that we're talking about, these people that need justice out there, that's a great image about how they work. A lot of times they seem to be harmless. Sometimes they even seem very charming. And lions are very beautiful. But they are in here, they're lying in wait. They're in secrecy, meaning not only that you don't see them, but you don't see their true selves. You don't see their true selves. And the same is true for the ego. The ego sometimes will seem like a sweet kitty, will seem like a sweet thing, will seem like a good idea. But it's a ploy to get us to move away from our true selves, to move into a world of fear, to move into a world of attack and revenge and retreat and all of that. So it happens on both sides of the aisle here. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. Fake, fake, fake. The fakeness of the people that we're talking about and the fakeness of our ego. This fake humility, this false sense of security that is conjured in order for us to become victimized by it. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. And this is what these people, any kind of that sort of sociopathic behavior, even if it's not diagnosed as such, is the idea that, well, I've gotten away with it my whole life. So obviously, if there is a God, it's on my side. But really what's happening in his mind or her mind, their mind, is obviously if there's a God, he's not looking at me, not watching me, because I never get caught. I'm too smart. I'm probably smarter than God if there is a God. Okay, then we've defined the problem. We've defined these personality types, whatever they are. We've defined where that personality type exists in our own ego mind, even though the ego mind in most of us is using it against ourselves rather than going after other people. And then we say, now that we've brought it all up, now let's do something about it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thy hand, forget not the humble. So again, God wasn't asleep. God wasn't hiding. None of that was happening. But the power of invocation is such that it must come from us. And when we invoke, there is always a response. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn God? He hath said in his heart, I just lost my spot. He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. Let me say that verse again. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn God? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. So contemn meaning despise. So the wicked despise God and say that that there's nothing bad's going to happen to me. Because if either there isn't a God or God is really wimpy because nothing bad ever happens to me. We're saying it again. Wherefore doth thou hast seen it. We're talking to God. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to require it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. So when it's talking about the fatherless, it's talking about an orphan, meaning helpless. So we're helpless against this. We're helpless against these powers, this injustice. And that's your job, is to help us. Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. Now, when we're saying break his arm, we're not technically asking for his physical arm or her physical arm to be broken. We're asking for the power to harm us to be broken, the power to continue to abuse to be broken. And also, we are asking for that arm within our own ego mind to be broken. We want to break it on both sides of it, both in the invisible inner world as well as in the world of effects. And then it says, seek out his wickedness till thou find none. In other words, purify my life of all of this wickedness until it's gone. And you can just see that image of the infinite pouring in some sort of purifying agent, be it light or water or something like that, just purifying your life of whatever this is. Because remember, until we've invoked, nothing could happen. But now that we've invoked, it's on. It's on. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of his land. Now the heathen here are the errant thought forms that are causing this to happen. The errant thought forms that are causing this to happen, because remember that thought is causative, and there can never be the effect of injustice if there isn't a thought of injustice. So the Lord is king forever and ever, meaning right now there is no power but this, and we've invoked it, therefore it's responding, therefore it's happening. This magic is active as we speak. And the heathen, these errant thought forms that are causing this injustice, are perished out of his land, meaning out of all of the spaces that the infinite creates. All of the spaces that the infinite creates. So we've just called Orkin, and we have exterminated all of those pests in our mind and in our life. Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Thou wilt cause their ear to hear. Now, when it's saying that very formally, it's talking about us, the person doing this spell. You've heard me. I'm being humble. I'm being humble. And I want you to prepare my heart and cause me to hear you. Because if my heart is open to you, my ears figuratively speaking, meaning my ability to perceive and hear you and follow your direction, if I'm in constant communication with you, not only will this be healed, but you will make sure that I'm never in a situation like this again. To judge the fatherless, and again, the helpless, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress. So I want you to judge me, who is being victimized, both internally and externally, and I'm willing to own my part in this, whatever it is, but I want you to judge me, meaning cleanse it out. The judgment of God in this case means sorting it out. I want to keep everything that you created for me, and I want to let go of and eliminate everything that is not your will. And just as a reminder, injustice is not the will of the infinite. The infinite doesn't will that you go through this. The infinite doesn't will that these sociopaths have power over you. And it also doesn't will that you do that to yourself. So none of this that you're going through is the will of the infinite. So that's why you ask for the judgment of the infinite, because that means that you are purified of all of those things that are not of the will of the infinite, that are not the will of the infinite. It's a very, very powerful process. And you just keep coming back to it again and again. Once a day is plenty, but come back to this and you apply these magical seeds to your problem over and over again each day until you get a sense of peace about the whole situation. You're going to have the sense of peace and certainty, and nothing bothers you anymore. You're not worried. And just that feeling is an indicator from your deep mind, this spell has been cast, and it's just a matter of a short time before you start seeing things change in the physical. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Until next time, blessed be. Oh, goody. We have time. If we have any questions, let's see if we do. In my King James Bible, there are Hebrew letters with certain verses. Why is that? Because this and Psalm number 9 are often combined as a single acrostic psalm. So every other verse starts with a different Hebrew letter in order. And I'll do a talk on the acrostic psalms at some point, and we'll even do a collection of them and show you how you can use them. But it was a mnemonic device probably in the old days to remember things. But it was also, because remember, these things, a lot of times they weren't read, they were memorized. And it was a type of bardic tradition, and they would have to be memorized and then sung while playing instruments. And then they would sometimes lead the congregation in responses and things like that. So some of these acrostic psalms were possibly mnemonic devices to help them memorize. But I believe also that the acrostic psalms are a magical formula. The most famous acrostic psalm is 119, where each verse is its own Hebrew letter. This is a similar one, but it's not a bunch of gratitude like Psalm 119. This is more of healing injustices and things like that. So Psalm 9 and 10 were probably one psalm at some point, because if you look at them in order, every other verse from Psalm 9 through Psalm 10 starts with a different Hebrew letter in order. Alrighty, and if you get my little booklet on Psalm 119, it'll give you a little bit more insight into some of the magic of the Hebrew letters, as well as the Kabbalah course will give you a lot of insight as far as the magic of the Hebrew letters. And there's always more to talk about with that. Okay, that was it on the questions. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much to the amazing moderators, Honey Paw and Jason. And thank you, Dre. I see you in here as well. Thank you so much for everything. And I hope we see you over on that premiere that's happening in about, 7 or 8 minutes. We'll see you over there. Thanks so much. Until next time, blessed be.